After over half a decade of building and managing teams and building systems for those teams, as well as getting a master's in organizational psychology, one of the things that irks me the most about how people run and operate their businesses has nothing to do with how they deliver service. It has nothing to do with how they treat their customers or their customer service. It has everything to do with how they select their employees. I think that is the biggest problem that most business owners face. And it doesn't matter if you're a new business, a startup, or you've been in business for a decade and you do $10 million a year. I think across the board, most businesses, most business owners, most HR departments, they get selection processes wrong. And after spending so much time studying this in school and then actually implementing it in the workplace, both before and after getting the degree, I think I've got a really good grasp on the best way to select the best people for your organization. The best way to build an organization, whether it's a business or a sports team, for longevity. There's this old saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I agree with that 110%. Look, we all know that people need to be competent. We all know people need to be able to do the job that we're hiring them for. That's a given. But it seems like everyone is just looking to hire the most qualified person. And I don't think that that's really the most beneficial way to go about building your organization. A healthy organization needs way more than that. It needs trustworthy people. It needs a great culture. It needs growth opportunities for the people that join that organization. And the only way you provide those things is by selecting the right people to build with. And by having the right systems in place, but that's a topic for another video. Let me make this really simple for you. If you are really just trying to pick the absolute best person for your specific organization, then there's really only 2 or 3 things that you need to do. The first one, really obvious. You need to figure out what the baseline level of competence is for the role that you're hiring. How good of a videographer do you need? How good of a salesperson do you need? How good of a manager do you need to put in this role? How much experience do they really need to have? Make sure you know exactly what those things are and list those items on your job description. List those on the job postings. Now, once you've narrowed down your pool of candidates, the next thing that I would be selecting for is culture fit. That's why it's so important to know what your business stands for. What is your mission statement? What kind of people do you want around you? And what kind of a culture do you really want to build with those people? You have to know these things. Otherwise, you're just going to be cherry picking random people out of a bucket because this person seems like they do the best work and this person had the highest sales numbers at their last job. Making sure that you've picked someone that's a good culture fit just makes everything that much better. It makes having conversations and being honest with your team members that much better. It makes implementing new strategies and new systems that much easier. It just makes the entire process of running a business or running a team or being a coach, it makes all of it that much better. And it also makes the entire team gel better. I'm an ASU graduate, and if you didn't know, ASU has been having a phenomenal football season this year. Nobody thought they would be able to do what they're doing. The funny part about it is the reason that they're doing so well and the reason people thought they weren't going to do well are the same. You see, when you look at how Kenny Dillingham put together this team and how they did their recruiting, you realize that he really did select for culture. He picked the people that were the most trustworthy. He picked the guys that could do the job well, who had physical and athletic talent, but he also picked the guys that fit the team that he was trying to build. He picked the guys that share the same kind of work ethic. He picked guys that have this tenacity and this competitive mindset. He picked guys that fit the team that he wanted to build. Now, to double back to trustworthiness, that brings us to our third and final point for this video. You need to select for people that are trustworthy. So once you've picked someone who's competent, and then you made sure that they're a great culture fit, the last thing to look for is, can I trust this person? And that might be the most important part of this entire process. While 1 or 2 high performers might exceed on their own levels, oftentimes they bring the entire productivity of your organization down. They make the whole team worse because they don't know how to operate with other people around them. When you can't trust someone, you can't trust them to hold your organization to a high standard. They might cut corners. It might lack integrity. It might make you look bad. It might make the entire team look bad. And by that virtue alone, you're losing out on business, you're losing out on opportunities, championship opportunities, things like that. It's all because you can't trust the people that are on the team. On the other hand, a trustworthy performer is someone that performs consistently, whether or not it's super flashy. They're less likely to have unethical behaviors. They're much more likely to shine a light on your business, and they're much more likely to work better with the teams and the people that are around them. They're much more likely to take on the systems that you're putting together. And even if those systems don't work fully, at least they're taking them on entirely so that you know they don't work. There's no question about it. And then they provide feedback about why it didn't work. And they tell you honestly, because they're trustworthy people, that it's not working and something needs to change. And they'll work with you to change it. Those toxic high performers tend to only think about themselves. They don't care if the systems aren't working because as long as they're getting paid and they're doing their job, they don't care. It doesn't matter to them. Now, really, the last part of this is understanding as someone that's at the front of an organization, again, whether it's a team, whether you're a coach, or whether you're a manager or a business owner, it's really important that you do the work necessary to foster a good culture, to build a culture that's built on collaboration and good ethics, and to showcase to the people that are underneath you that you really genuinely care. Because none of this stuff comes together if that doesn't exist first. I really hope that before you make that next hire or before you start recruiting for the new team that you're putting together, you take these things into consideration and you don't strictly look at the data and look at someone's performance, and you don't just call people to say, hey, what were their sales numbers like when they were working for you? Really take the time to get to know the people that you're bringing into your organization because it is that important.